1976, is that the time you expected today?
I mean, for me, this is the tip of an iceberg. It just keeps coming up. So the 1977 is a shock to me because we just recovered from an injury, which took a lot of weeks of training. So I'm happy with how we performed today.
Just weeks after a crushing 9th place finish and a nagging knee injury, Letsile Tebogo stunned the world with a 19.76 second 200 meter that looked too fast to be real, leaving fans questioning if it was even legit. From nearly written off to world leader, Tebogo didn't just win, he silenced his critics with one of the most dramatic comebacks in track history. This wasn't a fluke, it was a warning shot.
Twitch there from level on the outside, but they get away first time. Good stuff from Tebogo. From Courtney Lindsay. Courtney Lindsay leading at the moment. Tebogo trying to come back, and Tebogo so strong through that second half and easing away there, and he takes it there. 1976. That is quick.
Just weeks earlier, the track and field world had watched in concern as the 22-year-old Botswana sprinter stumbled through what could only be described as his worst performance of the season. At the Rabat Diamond League, on May 25, 2025, Tebogo finished a disappointing 9th place in the men's 100 meters with a time of 10.43 seconds, visibly easing off in the final stretch. The situation deteriorated further when he was forced to withdraw from the 200 meters entirely, citing injury concerns. Today's performance wasn't what I had hoped for. I'm currently dealing with a recurring injury, which hasn't been easy, Tebogo admitted to fans after the Rabat debacle. The injury centered around his knee, which had been troubling him since early May and had disrupted 2 weeks of crucial training. Coach Kebonyemodisa Mosimanyane confirmed the severity of the situation, stating that he has not been training well for the past 2 weeks due to discomfort in the knee. We felt it was important not to risk further aggravation by racing in Rabat. The struggles weren't limited to Rabat. Earlier in the season, Tebogo had placed 7th with a time of 10.20 seconds at the Diamond League in Xiamen and managed only 3rd place with 10.03 seconds at the Shanghai Diamond League. Critics began questioning whether the Olympic champion was losing his edge, with prominent track analyst Chris Chavez posting, "I need someone to step in and push him to the finish line or beat him." Courtney Lindsay was close in Doha. Kenny has looked like a man on a mission this season. The 50th edition of the Prefontaine Classic promised to be the perfect stage for redemption, featuring a stacked field in the men's 200 meters. However, a dramatic twist occurred on the eve of the race when Kenny Bednarek, who had been unbeaten in the 200 meters all season, was forced to withdraw due to tightness in his leg. Bednarek's absence shifted the spotlight entirely onto Tebogo, raising the question, would this be his opportunity to reclaim his throne? The field remained formidable even without Bednarek. Joseph Fanbula, Courtney Lindsay, Alexander Ogando, and Trinidad and Tobago's Jareem Richards all posed serious threats. Tebogo entered the race with a season's best of just 20.10 seconds from his victory in Doha back in May 16, a time that seemed pedestrian compared to what was about to unfold. Running out of lane 7, Tebogo demonstrated tactical brilliance from the start. He had a strong opening, quickly making up ground and positioning himself strategically as the field approached the turn. The real magic happened coming out of the bend, where Tebogo found himself with Courtney Lindsay and Alexander Ogando on his shoulder. But then something extraordinary occurred. As the field entered the home straight, Tebogo turned on the afterburners in a display of speed that defied his recent struggles. The African record holder accelerated with such authority that he left the quality field behind, crossing the line in a world-leading 19.76 seconds. The improvement from his season's best was staggering. A massive 0.34 second drop that represented one of the most dramatic single-race improvements in recent memory. Courtney Lindsay, who had been competitive with Tebogo earlier in the season, finished 2nd in 19.87 seconds, while Dominican Republic's Alexander Ogando claimed 3rd place with 19.94 seconds. USA's Robert Gregory was 4th in 20.04 seconds, and Trinidad and Tobago's Jareem Richards, despite his season's best of 19.86, could only manage 5th place in 20.23 seconds. The most memorable moment came in Tebogo's victory celebration. He struck a pose that captured everyone's attention, placing an imaginary crown atop his head. The crowd buzzed with speculation about the meaning behind this gesture. Was it a message to his critics, a symbol of his return to dominance? Tebogo himself played it down with characteristic humor. I mean, there's no meaning behind it, but however people interpret it, they can interpret it. For me, I just found it so funny because it's something that came out from playing Fortnite because that's what I play most of the time, so it just came out from there. The post-race interview disclosed the depth of Tebogo's own surprise at his performance. He confessed, "For me, this is the tip of an iceberg. The 19.7 is a shock to me because we just recovered from an injury, which took a lot of weeks of training, so I'm happy with how I performed today." The honesty was refreshing. Here was an athlete genuinely amazed by his own capabilities after weeks of doubt and physical limitations. But beyond the personal achievement, Tebogo's performance carried broader significance. As one of only 2 African athletes in the field, alongside Liberia's Joseph Van Boule, he felt the weight of continental representation. "I'm carrying the whole Africa on my back, because if I don't do it, who's going to do it for them?" he explained. "I mean, every athlete would want a medal, but for me, I just don't want to put myself under that pressure. But definitely, I'm going to show up and make sure that nobody feels comfortable when I'm around." The transformation from struggle to triumph wasn't just about physical recovery, it was about mental resilience. Tebogo reflected, "I believe in showing up, and those losses from the first Diamond Leagues, they built my character into a very confident man. The setbacks at Xiamen, Shanghai, and Rabat hadn't broken him, they had forged him into someone stronger." Track and field veteran Justin Gatlin had provided perspective during Tebogo's struggles, reminding critics that they're young athletes and they're going to comprise a young team. So they're going to take a couple of their L's and a couple of their losses along the way. Gatlin's words proved prophetic. The losses were indeed part of the journey, not the destination. The 19.76 clocking represented more than just a fast time. It was the fastest 200-meter run anywhere in the world during 2025. The performance also demonstrated Tebogo's tactical awareness and race management. I mean, I wasn't really much confident. I just had to picture perfect the London Diamond League when we broke the African record and make sure I try by all means to make it align to that one," he revealed, showing how he drew on past success to fuel present performance. Despite the remarkable achievement, Tebogo maintained his focus on continuous improvement. "But with this one, I'm happy because we are not there where we want to be, so I believe each and every Diamond League will be one step ahead," he stated, suggesting that even this world-leading performance was just the beginning of something greater. The comeback also silenced the growing chorus of critics who had begun questioning his form. Chris Chavez's earlier call for someone to push Tebogo had been answered, but not by an external competitor. Instead, Tebogo had found the motivation within himself, channeling weeks of disappointment and physical discomfort into one explosive performance. From a season's best of 20.10 seconds to a world-leading 19.76 in just 7 weeks, while managing a knee injury that had disrupted his training, Letsile Tebogo had authored one of the most remarkable comeback stories in recent track and field history. The crown celebration may have started as a video game gesture, but on that day in Eugene, it looked exactly like what it represented: a king reclaiming his rightful place on the throne.
The last 200. She comes into the straight now. Watch the clock. We're looking for the 14-minute barrier to be broken. 9 seconds to go. 8, 7. Surely she's going to get there. It's going to be mighty tight, but she has indeed smashed the world record. 13:50.
She wasn't just racing the clock, she was racing history. And what she did left the world absolutely speechless. No woman had ever broken 14 minutes in the 5,000 meters. Then Beatrice Chebet stepped onto the track in Eugene. And yet, for Chebet, this moment wasn't born from luck. It was forged through months of discipline, deliberate sacrifice, and an unshakable belief that she was capable of something extraordinary. Her post-race interview revealed everything. I'm so happy, she said, still catching her breath. After running in Rome, I told myself I have to prepare for a world record.
Today I'm so happy. After running in Rome, I say I have to prepare for a record because in Rome I was just running to win a race. But after running 14:03, I say
That Rome race was no ordinary effort. Just weeks earlier, Chebet had clocked 14.3, one of the fastest times in history. But it wasn't until she looked at the time afterward realizing she wasn't even aiming for a record. Just running to win that something clicked. If I can do 14.3 without trying, what can I do if I actually prepare for it? In Rome, Chebet was racing to win. But in Eugene, she was racing history. That change in purpose made all the difference.
Segai has ever gone under 14.05. She's now joined by Beatrice Chebet. An astonishing run, 14.03.69, the second fastest.
She returned home after Rome with a singular mission. Train for the record, not for a medal, not for points, not even for glory. She wanted to do what no woman had ever done, and she believed Hayward Field, Eugene's historic stadium, was the perfect stage. This was my 5th time coming here, Chebet explained. It's my lucky track. I ran my personal best here. I broke the 10,000-meter record here. So, when I planned for the 5,000-meter record, I knew there was nowhere else I wanted to do it.
this is my 5 times coming here, so I can say it's a good track for me. I ran the first 5,014.05, my personal best, when good enough broke a world record.
That kind of venue confidence matters. It's mental. Athletes often associate certain places with magic, and for Chebet, Eugene is just that. But Chebet didn't walk this road alone. Faith Kipyegon, 2-time Olympic champion, multiple world record holder, played a quiet yet vital role. As reported by track journalist Chris Chavez, Kipyegon told Chebet just before the race, "You have to go for it." That short sentence carried the weight of Kenya's entire distance legacy. For Chebet, those words hit hard. If Faith is trying, why not me? She recalled thinking. It lit a fire inside her.
Yeah, I was so happy for Faith. You know, Faith has been a close friend to me, and before even I came to run at the warm-up track, she told me, "You have to go for it." Then I told her, you have to go for it.
Kipyegon had shattered world records in the 1,500 meters and the mile, redefining what women could do in middle distance. Chebet saw a model in her, and when Faith gave her the green light, it felt like passing the torch.
Faith Kipyegon going for the world record. Has she got it? Yes, she has! I did it!
Behind every great performance is a team. In Chebet's case, the backbone is also deeply personal. Her husband is her coach, and that dynamic is rare in elite athletics. "He has been there for me," Chebet said, assisting me in everything. Training, recovery, motivation. That relationship offers a level of trust, comfort, and support few athletes get. In an individual sport that can feel isolating, Chebet runs with a circle around her. Faith as a friend and motivator, her husband as trainer and tactician. Discipline, she repeated multiple times, is the reason she's here. The moment she stepped onto the Hayward Field track, Chebet wasn't just racing for herself, she was chasing legacy. From the gun, her pace was relentless, metronomic, machine-like. Fans could sense something was happening by the second kilometer. She wasn't slowing. If anything, she was pushing harder. Every lap ticked off like a countdown to history. The announcers were screaming by the final 400 meters. Could she do it? She surged down the home straight, the clock frozen at 13:50 as she pumped her arms. Then 13:58.11. History made. Stadium stunned. She dropped to her knees and smiled through exhaustion. Chebet's record didn't just mark a personal achievement, it added another jewel to Kenya's long-distance dominance. "I'm happy to represent my country," she said. "When I go to the World Championships, we will have a strong field. Me, Faith, Agnes, all of us. Kenya has produced titans of long distance. Kipchoge in the marathon, Rudisha in the 800 meters, Kipyegon in the 1,500 meters, and now Chebet in the 5,000 meters. This new generation is doing more than winning. They're smashing historical ceilings. They're racing against the clock, not just their competitors." When asked what her next goal was, Chebet was clear. Now it's the World Championship, but even beyond that, she hinted at something more. She's planning to race 1 or 2 Diamond League meets, possibly a 1,500 meters or 3,000 meters to sharpen speed. Why? Because she's not done. Not even close. "I think a woman can run 13:50, maybe 13:49, she said confidently. "I've already run 13:54 on the road." Sub 13:50 is possible, and she might be the one to do it. Chebet's record will have far-reaching consequences in the women's distance world. For years, sub 14 was a glass ceiling. Only a handful of women even got close. Most hovered around 14:10 to 14:20. To now have a woman smash that mark, it changes everything. Coaches will train differently. Young runners will dream bigger. Elite athletes will believe more is possible. And don't forget faith. Chebet jokingly said, "I have to go back and tell Faith she must run 5,000 meters in 15 flat now." There's a friendly arms race happening, one that could bring even more records. Running sub 14 for 5,000 meters means averaging 2:47 per kilometer or just under 67 seconds per lap. That's faster than many national men's champions, and Chebet sustained it for over 3 miles. This didn't happen by chance. It was built through years of altitude training in Kenya, pacing work in Europe, race simulations at camp, and recovery optimization including sleep, nutrition, and massage. The body can't fake that kind of performance. It must be engineered. There's something about Hayward Field. Since its renovation, it has hosted Olympic trials, world championships, and pre-classic record chases, and it keeps delivering magic. For Chebet, it's spiritual. "I believe in Hayward Field," she said. "There's nowhere else I wanted to run this." The crowd, the history, the quiet energy in the stadium all added up to something supernatural. When asked what this record means, Chebet didn't gloat. She didn't talk about money or fame. She smiled and said one word again: discipline. In a world obsessed with shortcuts, Chebet's story is a reminder that greatness still demands the basics, showing up every day, working harder than you want to, and believing when no one else does. Beatrice Chebet has changed the history books. She didn't just break a record, she shattered a mental barrier that stood for decades. Now every woman lacing up spikes knows 13:58 isn't a dream, it's a target. And Chebet, she's not satisfied yet. The 5,000 meters has a new queen, but the throne isn't fixed. It's a launching pad. If this moment inspired you, share it. Let people know what's possible when belief meets preparation. Follow us for more stories of athletes breaking limits, and let Chebet's legacy light a fire in your own journey, whether on the track or beyond. Because when one woman breaks the unbreakable, it's not just history, it's a new beginning. The gun fired at the Star Athletics Sprint Series on Saturday, June 14th. 8 runners exploded from the blocks in Florida. But in one lane, something extraordinary was about to happen. Something that would send shockwaves through the entire track and field world. Maurice Gleaton, an 18-year-old high school senior from Langston Hughes High School, was about to do the unthinkable: defeat world champion Christian Coleman in his own race. When the electronic timer flashed 9.82 seconds, the track fell silent, then erupted, because what they had just witnessed defied everything they thought they knew about high school versus professional sprinting. An unknown kid from South Fulton, Georgia, had just destroyed the track and beaten one of the greatest sprinters in history. But this story doesn't start with that earth-shattering 9.82. It starts with a sophomore who was simply wanting to get better. Maurice Gleaton, born November 26, 2006, wasn't always the sprint sensation he is today. He was just another multi-sport athlete at Langston Hughes High School, playing wide receiver on the football team while competing in track and field. The breakthrough came during his sophomore year when something clicked. Gleaton became dedicated to the sport like never before, training relentlessly and working to get better every single year. His coach, Roland Colvin, who took over the program when Gleaton was a freshman, noticed the transformation immediately. He's always had that work ethic in him, but sophomore year is when he really started showing it, Colvin stated. He's said it in interviews before. He wants to be the best sprinter to come through Georgia, and he just keeps working. It's hard for him to rest because he just wants to keep going. We don't have to push him. It's, Coach, what do we have today? Let's go. He's always ready. That sophomore dedication paid off immediately.